I got to thinking about the whole aspect of hustle culture and trying to keep up with things. The reason was, so there's a semi-political group that I belong to that discusses a lot of different things like this. And I realized over the last, maybe month or so, something like that, I had been getting really anxious for a lot of reasons. Some of it was work related. Some of it was just, different personal reasons and other stuff. But one of the main contributing factors was notifications. Now, I am not a fan of hustle culture at all. I'm not a fan of being on. I'm not. I sometimes, looking back on times whenever, I know that there's that old adage that, at one point in time, back in the good old days, you didn't have phones, you didn't have the internet constantly around you. And there is some truth to that, where we didn't have to be on all the time. We weren't worried about posting or updating or doing something like that. And I have a highly addictive personality. When this became an issue was when I was realizing that every single time my phone, which I'm recording on right now, dings, I was treating it and looking at it, and like it was the most important thing. Like I was getting a message from the president or something like that. Most of the time it would be just a weird text message or a wrong number or something like that. Occasionally some update from a game. And so I started, as I usually do, working on a metric to kind of figure out how much time I was losing. Now, some of this is tracked by, you can set that up on your phones, and it'll tell you exactly how much activity you've done, how much screen time. And it's a rough approximation as to, actually, it's turning out to be a pretty accurate approximation as to what I'm doing with my phone. But it doesn't take into account being on the computer. It doesn't take into account other times when I might just be lost in thought and unable to do something because I'm attempting to multitask. I've often held that the concept of multitasking is one of the worst things that could have ever happened as an ideology. The reason is because, and what I'm about to say will probably isolate me onto the island of what the fuck is he talking about? But ever since I was a kid, if I was going to do something, I like to single in on that and do that one thing. I can do something and listen to music. That's fine. I might even listen to a video that is playing in the background, something, and then I'll look up on occasion. I cannot stand three things. I cannot stand lists, even though they are somewhat handy, especially as I get older and I forget more things. I cannot stand holding on to things because they are hopeful, eventual goals. I don't like that, because then I feel indebted to myself, and the moment I do that, I freeze up. And third, I don't like the idea of trying to do a bunch of things at one time. If you've been following this channel at all, or any of these journals that I've been doing, you know that I've spoken about the whole concept of having worked for somebody, actually quite a few people over the years, that if I'm in a meeting with them, they're also doing 5 other things at the same time. Now, I don't completely blame those individuals. A lot of it is the society we live in and the expectations. I mean, if you don't believe me, go look at LinkedIn or any job listing, Indeed, whatever, and you will find companies. The old joke is, they want somebody to hire from the ground floor who's never been in the industry, yet they want 25 years of experience. And it becomes maniacal trying to balance that. Well, for somebody like me who's in the position I'm in, where I'm very much 100% freelance, and a lot of the efforts and things I'm doing rely on being in contact with people and doing stuff. And I really rather enjoy all of it, especially now that I've really kind of grasped a lot of what my own expectations of myself, my capabilities, and what I think I can weather and really proliferate with. Now that I've defined that to a degree, I still have a long way to go. It has made it easier for me to understand that. But I still struggle to really hone in on what I can do to not only maximize my ability to be a productive artist and a creative artist that can make a living, and then also not completely in danger, just being able to have quiet times where I don't do shit. Seriously, I have over here on the other part of the studio, I have a workbench, and underneath it are somewhere between 50 to 60 different model kits, and without giving anything away on this, working substrates that could be customized. And I'll go into that more later, probably sometime at the beginning of the year, next year. Just some things I've been holding on to that I really, really was excited for, and I just never got around to. And when that happens, I end up defaulting into doing the same old shit that I always do. I'll maybe knock out a digital drawing. I'll fall back into comfort zones that don't really end up doing me any good. But at the same time, I struggle to get to the new things because I'm not willing to give myself time. And I have to force myself a lot. Meditation, mindfulness, a lot of those things have gone a long way to me being able to expand my personal just time to appreciate the small things. I'll give you a perfectly good example. I haven't done a video on this, but I went to, where was it? Oh, no, yeah, it was when I went to Collecticon. And one of the random things I picked, I'm a sucker for R2 units. So I picked up this little R2 unit. And I think this is the one that, yeah, he has a little area here in the front you push. And I think he takes a couple, yeah, in the back. He's got a rather discolored thing. I picked him up because the patina was interesting. I liked the discolored yellow. I don't know why. It gave him character. I think I already have one like this, but I need to double check to make sure that the batteries aren't bad in this thing, because he's not doing anything. He's got a little speaker on his head. The point is, I like being able to take the time to mess with this, to take it apart, to see if the battery connections are good, see if the battery's, messed up in there, see if he works. And that's probably something that takes me 5 to 10 minutes to do, and there's no real reason. It may become part of a video. I mean, maybe. But more importantly, it's just something I like to do. It's just something I enjoy. I like gaming. And so if you follow this channel or you've seen any of the other things on here, I have playlists for different games I play. I specifically did that because I don't have to think about recording. So I don't really even think of it as multitasking. It is subversive in the idea that I can go ahead and record, and without the constraints or worries of being live, I can just record something that 90% of it will work out pretty well. And I can, as long as I get my audio levels and other little technical things set up right, I can record it. I can enjoy an hour or two's worth of gameplay, talk to the audience that really isn't there, but for repeated viewings, and then post it. And that's about as close to multitasking as I get. There's a lot of other times when I'm doing artwork that, and I feel bad for this, like, a cat or a dog wants attention or something like that, and they're just a little pause. But then I stop. I've gotten myself to the point where I'll stop. And that sounds detrimental to the workflow. And it is, but it's in a good way. Because to anyone that's ever lost an animal or somebody in their life or something, once they're gone, they're gone. And not to get morose, not to get down on this, but quite frankly, we have limited time. Time is the greatest thief of them all. And if my cat or my dog or anybody that I interact with wants my time, I'm finally able, with a mature sense of mindset, to be able to go, yeah, I have time. I find myself trying my best, unless something comes up where I have to go get some work done or schedules clash a little bit. I have made myself really try to drop things because I want to be there for people. I want to be part of little online enclaves, discussions. I want to be able to go to a show and invest time in meeting new vendors and artists or catching up with old friends as much as I can without getting overwhelmed. And the whole thing that has come from this has been that I realized one of the biggest challenges I have still to overcome is not feeling guilt for spending time on the things that may seem superfluous or meandering. There's a difference between doing something because I don't want to get to something else, right? If I have a job to do, I'm the first person to admit, hey, there are times when I've completely fucked off, when I've been like, well, no, I'll do this first. I'll do this first. You know what I need? I need some tea. I made some tea. In fact, right now, this is green tea, and I made it in this cup with ceramic coat. And this bastard is still hot, like hotter than hell, like it just came out of the pot. But this stuff is keeping it cool, and so now I have to wait for my tea. So I decided to record this video. I don't know what that had to do with the narrative I was going on about, but my point, I guess my point was that I'm no stranger to making diversionary tactics to prevent me from getting down to something, especially if I have anxiety. And the thing I've found is that the more direct I can be with not only how I interact with people, but how I interact with the challenges and situations in my life, the better off I'm going to be. I actually had a really good conversation with another artist. We're working on a project together with a few others. And I really appreciated that when we were heading out to leave to head on home, he asked me a question about, like, you know, do you have any problems with like trading artwork occasionally if we're working on a project and maybe somebody can finish one up and the other one can give a shot at it or something. And I distinctly said, you know, I have no ego when it comes to, I don't, I'm, whether it's corporate beatdown or whether, you know, of my spirit, or just because I truthfully really do enjoy working in a group that is headed toward a common goal. I like that stuff. So I have no problem with that, but I enjoy when another creative is able to come up to me and ask me to do that sort of thing. It wasn't too different than from when there's the video on here that I did with my friend Sarah, where we were both working on concept like art of these randomly rolled, you know, characters, and mine was a mecha version of a My Little Pony character. I like stuff like that because it engenders my ability to think and grow, and also feel like I'm spending time getting to know people and getting to have those moments that would be fleeting. And maybe some of this comes from the fact that before I know it, a year will go by, or 3 or 4 years will go by before I catch up with somebody or make time to just send them a message or say hello. I don't want to do that anymore. And that's something I still falter. I still fuck that up. I'm trying not to anymore, you know, because you just don't know how much time you have left. And that's not a depressing thing to say. We really don't know. Life is chaotic. Life is random. And right now, I can honestly say, if I'm being completely frank, I'm very open about this. This is one of the scariest fucking times of my life. I am 100% freelance, and I am relying on being able to please quite a few people within some of the projects I'm working on for a pediatric center to make sure they like the ideas. And so far, there's been a lot of refusals of the concepts I've come up with. There's a lot of miscommunication. There's some things that aren't so great, but to quote Adam Savage, you know, it's not a problem I have to solve. The world will solve it on its own eventually. And that's not me being dismissive of it. It's just me understanding that I can only do what I can do. And as long as I propagate and move forward with professionalism, the ability to stay engaged and hit the marks that I need to, I've done everything I can. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I will find other things to do. I will find other ways to make money, survive, whatever I have to do. I'm not an idiot. And although I am not the kind of person that normally says stuff like this, I'm a fairly skilled person, and there is a lot of shit I can do. Unfortunately, the biggest challenge I have is just getting over the whole factor of believing that I have the energy and desire to do it. Since I've been dealing with like recovering from burnout and depression over the last year, 2, whatever, it has been a challenge, but one that I'm fine with. So with that, that's a nice little update. I have got some other stuff to take care of. I've got studio space to clear up so I can get some filming done. Looking forward to that. And yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. And I am now at 228 as of last night as far as subscribers and followers. I also posted to TikTok. That was fun. That was really fun. I got a couple views out of that. That was really cool. So are you here again, sir? Radar here. I don't think, are you going to want to be on camera? There's Mr. Radar. He is way more cumbersome. He doesn't like being picked up as much. Just because he's a very friendly kitty, but he just doesn't like to be picked up as much. He's better than his brother, Marbles. Marbles doesn't come to the studio. Marbles is a very destructive, and very large cat. He weighs about, well, how much do you weigh? I'm not putting you on the spot. Maybe 13 pounds, something like that. And I think Marbles is way bigger than that. Like somewhere around 18 pounds. I could be wrong. I don't remember these things from the vet. I'm just glad they're in good health. Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and pay attention to my cat now. He's sitting over here on the side. Here, let me turn the camera so you can see him a little bit better. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and pay attention to my cat. And I'm going to go ahead and stop this video and then get to work on my computer. And then I'm going to stop and I'm going to read for a little while because I have a lot of books to read and a lot of books that I just want to enjoy. And that's what I chose to do for the evening tonight to close out as opposed to electronic stimuli. So I'll catch you guys later. And I hope you guys have a good week. And for all of you that did shows this weekend, I know there was a ton of them. OCon and Crypticon and other cons. I hope you all kicked ass. I hope it went really fucking well for you guys. Really, genuinely. The whole thing out there is getting weirder and weirder. Just trying to make a buck and trying to, stay afloat. But I've got a lot of really, really skilled and talented friends. I have no doubt you guys kicked ass. So I'll catch you guys then. And I will see the rest of you next week when I do another one. And I'll have a couple videos coming up this week too. Take care.